4 kilometers off the coast of Japan, a giant airport is floating in the sea. So big that it can even be seen from the International Space Station in space. It is not only the world's first airport built in the sea, but the bridge connecting it to the land is the longest bridge of its kind. It was also the largest man-made island at the time, which was built for a special airport. It has been developed at a cost of $20 billion, so this entire project is an engineering masterpiece. But at the time of construction, what was left in it was so lacking that it is sinking into the sea day by day. Why did Japan take the risk of leaving the land and building an airport in the sea, and now what are the engineers planning to prevent it from sinking? Welcome back to the ZTV. Viewers, when it comes to futuristic technology and awe-inspiring structures, Japan does not be mentioned. How is this possible? Only 18 years after the world's first high-speed train, Tokaido Shinkansen, was completely destroyed in a nuclear attack in Japan during World War II, the world's first high-speed train was launched. The rest of the world only talks about automobile shock absorbers, but Japan is the only country on Earth to avoid earthquakes. Shock absorbers must also be installed under the building, but not every arrow of the Japan always hits the right target. There are also project fails, and there are errors in them. And some such mistakes were made while building the Kansai International Airport in Japan. By the way, this airport built in Japan's Kansai region is very close to Osaka City, Kobe and Kyoto, where there are already 3 airports within the radius of only 50 kilometers. But considering Japan's growing population and economic demands, another airport was needed here. Now the problem was that the airports were already here. All around them, the large number of population is here. It was not possible to expand these airports, and on the other hand, the vacant land in Kansai region was used by farmers who refused to give it for the airport. The only option left for Japan to increase its exports and attract international tourists was to build an airport on the bay. This part of Osaka Bay is about 60 feet deep, and the construction of the airport here means that the island will be built here first. The construction of Kansai International Airport was starting in 1987. At that time, the cost of the project was only estimated at $8 billion, but due to the complexity of the project, this amount increased from $8 billion to $20 billion. If it was built on land, it would have doubled because they would have to pay heavy compensation to take the land from the farmer. Engineers designed 2 islands for Kansai Airport, one 4 kilometers long and the other 5 kilometers long. These islands will standing on support of massive seawall. This part of sea is about 60 feet deep. 750 million cubic feet of soil was excavated. Japan had built several islands before, but in this case, the mud on the bottom of the sea, 4 kilometers from the coast, was quite different. On which to build a superstructure was not without risk. Engineers took samples of the mud on the bottom of the sea after testing, and some experts estimated that the airport here would sink up to 19 feet, while some said it could sink deeper than 25 feet. The interesting thing is that in both cases, the airport had to sink in the sea. To save costs, the officials designed the foundation of the land and the airport to sink 19 feet, and this was their biggest mistake. The first step in the structure process was to harden the ocean floor. 1 million drilling pipes were inserted into the ocean floor and vibrated. The vibrations caused the cement to compress, making the floor considerably stiffer. 1 million drilling holes left behind after removing the pipes were filled with special water-absorbing sand. On the other hand, 48,000 concrete blocks were used to build the 24-kilometer-long seawall. Seawall was built by pouring stones and rubble into giant steel chambers and then placing concrete blocks in the center of these steel chambers. The only purpose of building the seawall was to protect the airport from storm and the terrible waves that they create. Now, by putting soil inside the sea wall, the height is increased to 65 feet above sea level. After making this land, the construction workers started the construction of the airport and the runway. In 1990, the bridge from Osaka to the airport was also built. which cost about $1 billion. The sinking of the international airport was already planned, but the engineers and officials had a huge misconception that the airport would sink only 19 feet. While during the construction itself, the land has gone in up to 34 feet. Of the land that was raised 65 feet above sea level, 34 feet had already subsided before the airport was launched. Engineers estimate that in 50 years, the end will be well stabilized at a height of 13 feet above sea level. A height of 13 feet is the minimum requirement to protect the airport from flooding. But here too, his estimate proved wrong, because what he was expecting after 50 years came up in just 10 years. Until the launch of the second terminal of the airport, the island had sunk 52 feet and reached a height of only 13 feet. And today, he was standing at a very dangerous level and was going deeper day by day. It is now being said that by 2056, the international airport will reach sea level by sink of 13 feet. To prevent this, the airport's seawall is raised every day, which has already cost $150 million. But not only the seawall that is being strengthened to protect Kansai International Airport. Hydraulic jacks are installed in the foundation of the airport, which are topped up every other year. Every 2 years, the foundation of the entire airport is raised about 1.5 inches, which does not reduce the risk of sinking, but it certainly delay. Whatever measures are being taken to save this land and the airport is only a temporary measure. Japan knows very well that the airport will be lost one day. By spending millions of dollars every year, they are not only saving the airport, but they are also buying time, so that by that time he might build an airport somewhere else in Kansai. On the one hand, the danger of sinking the airport is looming overhead. On the other hand, nature also knocks every year, and in 2018, Osaka Bay was hit by Typhoon Jebi. This storm was so strong that it raised the sea level for 10 hours and the entire water surface was covered with water. The runways were filled with water and the planes parked at the airport had to suffer a lot. Due to this incident, all operations of the airport were stopped. Kansai International Airport was already sinking, but the Japanese did not consider it their defeat, but their victory, because they have shown the courage to do what no other nations have done till date. I hope you guys will enjoy this video. Thank you very much for watching this video. See you in the next wonderful video.